in about now. Nice. We actually did it. Take the reward, fuck it. Mageblood. Oh boy. 4 Flasks. Nice. Hi everybody, Desmo here. In today's video, we are going to speak about my current build, which is a cast when stunned Servant of Arakaali. This build is a very particular kind of build. It is passively casting all your spells when you get stunned. It means that the more you get stunned, the higher your damage is. Also, the more you get stunned, the more you recover life. Let's go quickly over the core items of the build. To begin with, you have Immutable Force. It causes you to have increased stun and block recovery up to 1000%. It makes that from around 900% increased block and stun recovery, you will not feel stunned anymore. The second core item is Valerian Ring. This one makes it so your stun threshold is based on energy shield instead of life. So we are trying to keep our energy shield as low as possible to make sure that every hit is stunning us. The next core item is Blood Notch. This one is making us recover life up to 60% from stun hits. This jewel is giving us most of our tankiness. On top of that, we are using Petrified Blood. This skill makes it so, when taking damage from hits, 40% of life loss is prevented, then 76% of life loss prevented this way is lost over 4 seconds. So basically, since we are not taking the damage directly, it's prevented, then the damage occurs over 4 seconds. We have time with the other mechanic of the build to recover the life before we lose it. The next core item for this build is going to be Cloak of Flame. With this build we have lots of defense in terms of recovery, but we need to survive the hit to be able to recover the life. And with physical damage, since we don't have too much physical damage reduction, physical hits might kill us before we recover the life. So with Cloak of Flame we are mitigating 40% of physical damage to take them as fire damage. The last item, which is absolutely essential for this build, is the Consuming Dark Fiend Dagger. We are using 2 of them because they are giving us 30% of fire damage is converted to chaos damage, so it's a total of 60%, and your chaos damage has 60% chance to poison enemy. So with 2 daggers we are making sure that we always poison enemy. Now about the Ascendancy. We are going for the Shadow Servant of Arakaali, because it's giving us trigger level 20 raised spiders on kill, and we can have up to 20 spiders, which is going to be 300 increased damage with poison. On top of that, the spiders are going to inflict withered, so this is some additional damage. On the other side of the Ascendancy, we are getting level 30 aspect of the spider, which is going to increase the damage enemy takes and reduce their movement speed. On top of that, with the last Ascendancy node, enemies are gonna deal 15% reduced damage. So this is for the core mechanic and items of the build. Now let's speak about the other item of the build. The first one is going to be Defiance of Destiny. This amulet is going to make us gain up to 24% of missing life before getting hit by an enemy. It means that basically we are reducing the damage we take by 24% at all time. Now let's speak about the flask. You absolutely do not need Mageblood for the build. You just need flask with the modifier gain 2 or 3 charges when you are hit by an enemy. With that, since we are getting hit a lot with this build, you are gonna have your flask up all the time, even without quality. The flasks we are using are Ruby, Sapphire and Topaz flask for maximum elemental resistance, also to fix our resistances if your items are not too good. On top of that, we are using a Jade flask to have some additional physical damage reduction, since we are converting all evasion rating to armor with iron reflexes. For even more defenses, we are stacking up to 6 endurance charge, which is going to give us up to 24 additional physical damage reduction. Another good unique item that you can use is Impossible Escape with Unwavering Stance, so you can allocate Prismatic Skin, which is going to give us 2 to all maximum elemental resistances. Before we move on to how we scale our damage, let's speak quickly on the implicit that we can get on the corruption for unique items. For the dagger, you can get chance to gain Frenzy Charge on kill, which is going to give us 4 more damage per Frenzy Charge, but you can also get increased damage over time. These 2 implicit are going to be a bit expensive. On your body armor, you can get +1 to all maximum resistances, and this is also applying to maximum chaos resistance. Now how to scale the damage. For damage, we are using basic jewels. There's different stats that you want on the jewels, and this is going to be chaos damage over time multiplier, but there's other stats that works. For instance, damage over time, chaos damage, damage over time multiplier, and so on. You also want to have some life recoup, increased life, or maximum fire resistance. The jewels are going to be expensive, so you should craft them yourself. To do that, you buy a base with Fracture Chaos Damage Over Time Multiplier, then you use the harvest bench and you do reforged life until you get 2 usable affixes. It can be increased life, life recoup, chaos damage over time, chaos damage, damage over time, and so on. Let's speak a bit more about the tree. First, we are getting some additional recoup with the cluster here. We are getting immunity to critical strikes because poisoned enemies cannot deal critical strikes. Then we are getting a little bit of spell suppress from the tree. We are getting all the life cluster that we can, and we are getting all the masteries even if they are useless, because if we have all the life mastery allocated, we are getting 10 more maximum life. The last important part of the tree is the cluster jewels. We are using 3 of them to get as many jewels as we can, and the first one is gonna be a fire damage. The nodes don't matter too much. You mostly want to have 3 notables and 8 passives. There is different notables that can work. Don't go crazy on the price and just pick something that is fine for you. Just note that smoking remains is nice because you have a chance to create a smoke cloud on kill, and this is going to be an additional layer of defense. Then we are using 2 clusters with chaos damage. Again, don't go crazy on the price for these, just pick something with 3 notables. There's a few that are nice to have. Basically, you want something that increases chaos damage. Increased kill effect duration is also nice. And you may want 1 notable which is going to be Overwhelming Malice, because you get a chance to get Unholy Might, and this is giving us chance to apply Wither. Don't go crazy on the price again for this one, because already the spiders are applying Wither. So this is additional chance for that, but this is really not necessary. Quick note for your clusters, you may want to have intelligence or chaos resistance on the passives, because intelligence is going to be an issue for the build and chaos resistance is really important. As you can see, we are traveling through the dexterity node and the strength node, so strength and dexterity are fine, but intelligence is going to be lacking, and this is why you will also need to have intelligence somewhere on your items. On top of that, chance to suppress spell damage is something you are going to be looking for. Now, a quick note on the mistake not to make. Since all our damage is linked directly to the fact that we are getting stunned, anything that makes you stun immune or give you a chance to avoid being stunned is really bad for the build. So make sure you don't have any of that, for instance the suffix on the flask or the Pantheon Soul of the Brine King. Speaking of the Pantheon, you want to use Soul of Lunaris because it's giving us additional physical damage reduction, and for the Minor God, you want to use Tukohama because it's giving us even more additional physical damage reduction, and on top of that we are getting some life regeneration. A last word for the items that we use for the build. This build is really not good for single target when the single target that you are fighting is not attacking too much. There's bosses where they are attacking a lot, and there's other bosses where they attack just once in a while. A good example is the goat in Glacier. It's going to jump at you and then wait, and then jump and then wait. This is extremely bad because you are going to get stunned only once every 2 seconds. So your DPS is going to be extremely low. In this kind of situation, we have 2 options. The first one is the Hateful Accuser, and the second one is the Weaver Contrition from the Ascendancy. Both of them are giving us the skill level 20 penance mark, and this skill is doing so that cursed enemy spawns 3 phantasm when hit. It means that even if there is only 1 enemy in the battlefield, you will always get 3 additional enemies that are going to hit you, so you make sure that you are getting stunned much more and you are dealing more damage. When you are using that, you need to make sure to remove your cast when stun on your curse setup to make sure that you are not overwriting your penance mark with your other curse. Now for the last part of this video, let's speak about the farming strategy. This build performs extremely well for any strategy where you can stand still. There's different options for that. For example, there is Expedition or Ritual. For me, the best was Ultimatum, as recommended by Emerical in his own video for this particular build, and we are stacking additional round for the Ultimatum and reward duplication. And we are increasing the additional round even more with this Scarab, which you can split into several stacks in your map device to get up to 10 additional rounds. Just know that for my own farming session, I was mostly using 1 stack. Emerical is the one who came up with this build concept and farming strategy. I will link his YouTube page in the description, definitely go check him out. If you have any question, please leave a comment. That is it for today, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and until my next video, take care of yourself and bye!